again, you want to and we are live.
Hello, everybody. Our apologies. We're having some technical difficulties with WebEx, so everybody should have been sent a link to YouTube. So this is now going to be going public. Um, so again, apologies. Thanks to Brian and Daniel for getting all of this going. And welcome. This is a little bit of a different forum than I did the first time, which was on Microsoft Teams. So bear with me today as I get used to using this one. I'm Baltimore Gonzalez. Welcome. Many of you, and I apologize, last time said you were informed maybe 15 minutes or a couple of hours before our first seminar. So no worries, we're looking on how to get that put up so you can go back and look at the first one. And my intention for these wellness webinars is that we are doing some active engagement with each other and really just having a conversation. You saw that it said how to take care of yourself while taking care of others. So taking control of your wellness. As I said in the first one that I did, the first webinar, what I feel makes me qualified to do this is that I am human just like everyone else, the rest of you. This is in no way saying that anybody is not healthy. This is just to work in conjunction with whatever we're already using to keep ourselves well. But there's no presumption that nobody is not doing the best that they can and well in their own right. Wellness means something different for all of us. And we have to remember that even coming into today, when we hear wellness webinar, wellness is going to mean something completely different for all of us. I spoke a little bit last time about wellness for me is peace of mind. That's what wellness is to me. And that encompasses a lot of compartmentalizing of stuff in my life, from paying bills to meditating to having everything in balance. And but that's what that means to me. So I'm going to be going over a little bit of what some of you might have missed the first time. And then, so today I wanted to start off with, we can't judge ourselves based on what we were able to do pre-pandemic, before physical distancing restrictions were put into place. And this was by psychologist Kristen Bianchi. And I think it's important that we remember that today, April 29th at 12 noon, we are completely different people, humans, healthcare workers, providers, caretakers than we were just a month ago, just 2 months ago. The world is different. So again, we can't judge ourselves based on what we were able to do pre-pandemic, before physical distancing restrictions were put into place. If you're feeling pretty freaked out right now, I talked about this last time, you're not the only one. It does seem like people are kind of feeling a little less freaked out. That's the feeling that I'm getting as I speak to people and colleagues and family. I think it's important. I'm just going to put my own side note out there that we're still vigilant about everything, but perhaps people are kind of becoming a little used to. I've even heard of the term quarantine fatigue, which I know I definitely have. And so however you're feeling right now, it's okay. Fear, worry, anxiety, anger, grief, loneliness, panic, exhaustion, frustration, annoyance, they're all normal. But we do know we can take responsibility for our own wellness even during a global health crisis. There's a lot we can control right now, but we can't control right now, but we can take ownership of the things we can control. And I just put down a few things that I really like and that were sent to me. Wellness is not a marathon. I'm sorry, wellness is a marathon, not a sprint. It's a marathon. It's ongoing. It's ever changing. It's okay not to be okay all of the time. So take that in for a second. Take a deep breath. As most of you know, in through your nose and out through your mouth. It's okay not to be okay all of the time. A lot of what we're hearing now, even in but in the webinar that we attended this morning from 10 to 11:30, the quite lengthy webinar, it, she spoke about this is a totally different time, and perhaps now we're having to tell ourselves some of the same things that we tell our clients regularly. And the next one is, remember, this is temporary. It might feel like it's been 2 years, 3 years. It has been a long time, and for some, again, time is perception. Just like wellness, everybody has their own version of wellness. So is time. Time feels differently for all of us, and depending on what your situation is, maybe you live at home and you're working from home by yourself, and that would be more important for you to even reach out. Some might be going home to a family of 20 people in one home. It's different for all of us. So WRAP is a self-designed plan for staying well and helping you to feel better when you are not feeling well, to increase personal responsibility and improving your quality of life. Some of these things I'm going to be repeating at the beginning of each seminar, just in case people are joining us for the first time. And if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And if you're coming back from the first time, thank you so much for returning. The Wellness Recovery Action Plan, the WRAP, helps people identify the most important components of staying well, and it's organized into 5 sections: the daily maintenance plan, stressors, early warning signs, when things are breaking down, and the crisis plan. Stressors, aka triggers, that's something we'll be going over next week, in the 2 weeks from now. So, and I also want you to know that this is recognized by the Federal Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, SAMHSA, as an evidence-based practice, okay? So just to recap, in Seminar 1, we went over key recovery concepts and the Wellness Toolbox. And this picture here you can see is something I love. It says the highest form of human intelligence is to observe yourself without judgment. And how important is that right now? A lot of us working from home, a lot working in the office. Are we doing enough? Are we doing enough when it comes to billing? Are we doing enough when it comes to helping our clients? Are we doing enough when it comes to helping our community, our world, ourselves? The highest form of human intelligence is to observe yourself without judgment. So please try to look at yourself through the eyes of someone else that likes you. 5 key recovery concepts: hope, personal responsibility, education, self-advocacy, and support. Some of you will remember that from the first time. So again, this is a recap. We went over those, and then we went over developing a wellness toolbox, this is the first step in developing your own wellness recovery action plan. And it's listing the things that you have done in the past or could do to help yourself stay well, and things you could do to help yourself feel better when you are not doing well. You'll use these tools to develop your own plan. Walking daily was an example, painting. People gave many, many wonderful examples in Seminar 1. Gardening, whatever it is that you like to do and that can help to keep yourself well. So today's focus is going to be on the daily maintenance plan and developing cohorts. The daily maintenance plan. These are a lot of the things that you have been doing your whole life or are already doing every single day of your life. This is just really creating your menu of life, putting them down so that you can go back and have a baseline when you are well. So describing yourself when you are well and listing the things you need to do every day to maintain your wellness. So I want to read that one more time. Describing yourself when you are well and listing the things you need to do every day to maintain that wellness, okay? So this is section 1 of the WRAP. There's three parts to this daily maintenance plan, and the first part is a description of yourself when you are well. The second part is wellness tools you know you must use every day to maintain your wellness. And then the third part is a list of things you might need to do on any given day. So let's start with a description of yourself when you are well. So, Baltimore. I have learned throughout the years things from coworkers, from friends, from family. So sometimes, and we'll get into this, you may even have to ask others their perception or what they see when what you're like when you're well. I'm very giving when I'm well. I'm very talkative. I joke a lot. Perhaps some people don't like my sense of humor. That's okay, but that's what I'm like when I'm well. So I have a whole list of things I'm like when I'm well. And the reason we want to do this when we're well is because when we're well, we're in a different state of mind where we can, and we can even ask people. It was a coworker of mine that said, "You're very playful." Another one said, "You're jovial." You're very giving. And again, there are certain things about myself that I can recognize. But for trusted supporters that you have, ask them, a husband, a wife, brother, sister, best friend, partner, whoever, hey, when I'm well, what does that look like to you? And I want you to keep in mind that this is going to be totally different for everyone. I may be talkative and smiling when I'm well, and the next person to the right of me may be completely quiet, docile, and listening to their music with headphones on. And that's them being 100% well. The great thing about developing this plan is that you get to let others know, as well as learning about yourself, what works for you. We've heard for many, many years that cookie cutter approaches don't work for everyone. And this is you telling yourself again and others, your supporters, what you are like when you're well. It's not someone telling you unless you ask them. So this is a description of what you're like when you're well, like I said, and it serves as a reference point. I like to use for mine the word baseline. So this is so that when you are not feeling very well, you can refer back to how you want to feel. Your feeling well list is a simple list of words that describes you when you are feeling well, okay? So this doesn't have to be a long, drawn out paper on who you are, an autobiography, and this is just some simple words that let yourself and others know what you're like when you are well. So, and if you want, you can grab a piece of paper and you can write these things down. I'm hoping that if you could, you can, I'm not sure with this forum if you're able to type into the YouTube comments. Or you can use the chat, Brian's telling me. So use the chat, and if you could, send in what you are like when you're well in just a few words, okay? And hopefully we can share some of those. Do remember that this is public, and if you don't want us to share your name, that's okay, just put that in the comment. So some descriptive words that others have used included bright, talkative, outgoing, energetic, humorous, reasonable, argumentative. So you see how interesting argumentative would fit into feeling well. However, perhaps let's even go into self-advocacy of the 5 key recovery concepts. And perhaps when someone's not well, they don't have the ability to be argumentative. So again, this is where we're able to look at, and we can go a step further. You get hospitalized for some reason, maybe you're pregnant or you have an illness or whatever. This gives people an idea to look at if you choose to share with them. Oh, okay, Baltimore's being argumentative, so he's feeling better. Now, when you aren't feeling very well, you can refer back to how you want to feel. I shared with you guys earlier, I want to feel giving. I want to do things for other people. I want to have that energy. I want to talk to people. I want to be social. So I'm able to look back at that list and look at it and go, okay, so that's how I normally am. And then we're going to get into how do I go back to getting myself there. The next part of your daily maintenance plan is to describe those things you need to do every day to maintain your wellness. For a second, I'm going to ask Brian if anybody shared anything.
Not yet.
Not yet, okay. If you want to still, please do. So that was what you're like when you're well. Or you can also email me if that's something you don't want to share on there. You can use your wellness toolbox for ideas. Your daily maintenance list helps you to recognize those things you need to do to remain healthy and then to plan your days accordingly. So again, this part is
I do have one.
is describing those things you need to do every day to maintain your wellness. So we have one.
When I am well, I am patient, aware, social, energetic, and funny.
When I am well, I am aware, social, energetic, patient, and funny.
I got another one.
And then we got another one.
Playful, joker, sing, and dance.
Playful, joker, sing, and dance. Those are wonderful, wonderful examples of what you're like when you're well. Again, going back to that baseline. When you're not well, let's focus on when you're well.
I got another one.
So we got another one.
Supportive, encouraging, outgoing, joyful.
Supportive, encouraging, outgoing, and joyful. Supportive, encouraging, outgoing, and joyful. What a wonderful combination. So for those of you that are listening, those are three different people with three different sets of what they look like when they're well. Okay, so those are some great examples, really great examples. So our next on the daily maintenance, helping us to recognize the things that we need to do to remain healthy daily. So some examples, I'll give you some examples of mine and then I'll get into some examples. Some examples for Baltimore. I need to make sure that I meditate daily. I do this at least twice a day. And then I do something that's called a medi-nap that's been, many people over the years have understood it and many people have not, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now. As an agoraphobic 24 years ago, I found it very difficult to be awake. So I slept probably 20 hours a day during that agoraphobia, as much as I could because it was such a horrendous experience. Little by little, as I got better and as I became well, and as I got treatment, I went down and down in the hours that I slept and then was able to somewhat become normal. Many people would argue I'm not normal, I might too. But what was normal to me, what I did keep was I started meditating and I kept this practice of every single day in the afternoon of medi-napping, which is what I call it. And I start off in a meditative stance and allow myself to go to sleep for about 45 minutes to an hour, around there. Before I started this webinar, I did deep breathing for literally 60 seconds. I've been doing this for so long, practicing the deep breathing, the mindfulness, the meditation, that even when I didn't believe in it, I did it to get my body acclimated to something like today, where that even though I didn't feel like I needed it, I still did it just to calm. Think of the benefits of lowering your blood pressure, lowering your heart rate, your mind. Oftentimes our minds are just filled. And for me, it's very cleansing. Throughout the years, I've worked with many people on meditating. I've taught meditation classes, and it's not for everybody, and that's okay. That's not something that's going to be on that person's daily list, but it is going to be on mine. Another is getting enough sleep. I cannot go to bed at 3 in the morning and get up at 7. That doesn't work for me. Now, for someone else, they can go for 2 hours. So for me, I'm gonna go back to my medi-napping, my sleeping. I try to eat healthy. I try to get some walking in right now. And with the COVID, it's a little bit hard in our atmosphere to get any exercising in. Some would say that's an excuse, and they're probably right. It's something I'm trying to do more of. So we'll get to that though, what you would like to do. So on a daily basis though, right now is walking, meditating, medi-napping, deep breathing, and there's many other things. Those are just a few examples. So I'm going to share some examples with you guys that others have given. And also please type them in and send them to Brian. Any examples that you have of things you need to do every single day. And we're not talking going to Disneyland. We're not talking going to the lake. We're talking about feasible things that can be done that are usually free, don't cost you anything, and help you to take care of your wellness. A routine. Earlier in the webinar, I can't remember the lady's name. She spoke about rituals and how important rituals were. And for her, she noticed with AA, how quickly, I think she said within 9 days, they had everything up and running. So if you think of this, it's almost a bit ritualistic of things that you would be doing every single day. So here are some examples. Eating 3 healthy meals and 3 healthy snacks that include whole grain. I apologize, whole grain foods, vegetables, and smaller portions of protein. Drinking at least 6 8-ounce glasses of water. Getting exposure to outdoor light for at least 30 minutes. Taking medications and vitamin supplements. Have 20 minutes of relaxation or meditation time or write in your journal for at least 15 minutes. Check in with partner for at least 10 minutes. Spend at least half an hour enjoying a fun, affirming, and or creative activity. Check in with myself. How am I doing physically, emotionally, spiritually? Go to work if it's a work day. So these are examples that some people gave. That last one, go to work if it's a work day, well, most of us are already at work because we're working from home. And we talked about that a little in seminar 1 about work, because this is all surrounding around work and home and taking care of yourself. And just on that last one, going back to the self-advocacy, please make sure that your needs are known by those around you, including your supervisor. If you have a need, let others know. There's that saying, closed mouths don't get fed. And it really is true. You must take care of yourself first. I implore you to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, it is going to be you that has to lay there and calm yourself down or whatever. And I've learned that throughout the years, that holding things in is just not conducive to my health personally. The last section of that daily maintenance list is what, did we get any, Brian, on the,
No.
okay, on the things I need to do daily? On what I might need to do on any given day is to stay as well as possible. So these are things that you might do. So I'm going to say on there, for me, I'm going to take a bath, go for a longer walk, something that I wouldn't do every single day, maybe go to the store, do some shopping, call someone, reach out. So these are things that I might need to do, things that I don't need to do every day, but if I need to do them on a certain day and I don't do them, it can cause stress and hardship. This list can also include things you like to do for yourself from time to time. Reading through this list daily and doing those things that need to be done reduces the stress in life and helps you keep on track. One of the first things that I think of is laundry, dishes. Again, these are all going to be different for us. I've been in homes where dishes are piled up for days and people are okay with that, and that's okay.
We did get one.
So we did get one for the first part.
spending one-to-one time playing with my toddler, taking a drive while listening to music, doing yoga after putting my son to sleep, and always making time to do my skincare routine twice a day. Am I repeating those?
Please, one by one.
Spending one-to-one time playing with my toddler.
So spending one-to-one time with my toddler, I apologize.
Taking a drive while listening to music.
Taking a drive while listening to music.
Doing yoga after putting my son to sleep.
Doing yoga after putting my son to sleep.
And always making time to do my skincare routine twice a day.
And always making time to do my skincare routine
Twice a day.
twice a day. So that's important. Even if you're at home, you still want to look good, right? So those are some great examples. I hear that very often with people about getting in the car and music. I suppose hearing the other ones with children, you can't do that if you have kids, especially if they're at home. Music seems to come into play a lot for people on their daily maintenance list. Definitely, those are some great ideas. So going on to this one on things I might need to do. Also, send in any examples of what you might need to do and if you don't do them. And again, I gave the example of taking a bath, maybe lighting some candles, lighting some incense. These are things that for some people might be on their daily maintenance list. These are things that for you, it might be something you might need to do. And it's totally okay. Again, it's okay that they're all going to be different. I'm going to give you some examples. Setting up an appointment with one of my healthcare professionals. I'm going to give you guys an honest example right now of about a month and a half ago. I had a very bad panic attack. And that day, I texted my therapist and said I could really use a session tonight. And she got me in. So that's an example of I don't need therapy every single day. However, it is on my list of something I might need to do if I need to talk to her sooner than our scheduled appointment. So that's an example of for me. So that was setting up an appointment with one of my healthcare professionals. Spending time with a good friend or to be in touch with family. This could be a little bit difficult right now, right? Everything's gone virtual. There is still that option of virtual. You're doing it right now if you're watching this. Familiarizing yourself with FaceTime if you have it, or with any of the other forums that people are using to connect. But spending time with a good friend or being in touch with family. Doing peer counseling. Doing some housework. Buying groceries. Doing the laundry. Having some personal time. Plan something fun for the evening or weekend. Write some letters. Go to support group. There are a lot of virtual support groups. Lots of them right now. You just have to find them, or you can email me and ask. And if you do know virtual support groups, please send any of them that you know to me. I really would like to compile a list of what we have and share that. Having some personal time and planning something fun for the evening or weekend. You know, there have actually been studies that have shown that when you have something to look forward to that you're planning, that it does help your mental health and well-being. So having something to look forward to. And this having some personal time, if you have to write out a schedule for your day, remind yourself there are 1,440 minutes in a day. And take some of that time out, if it's 10 minutes, 20, an hour, 2 hours. Again, everybody's situation's different. And try to find some personal time for yourself if that's what you need.
We do have another one.
Okay, we have one.
Recovery meetings. Do you want to just
Recovery meetings.
candlelight baths?
Candlelight baths.
Hangs or talks with my support team?
I'm sorry?
Hangs or talks with my support team?
Hangs or talks with my support team.
Listening to and singing angry girl music?
Listening to or singing angry girl music.
And pedicures?
And pedicures. If you could elaborate a little bit more, I love that. I'd love to know what that angry girl music is.
You got
What
it.
some examples? And if there's any angry guy music out there, I'm curious.
Speak with family members more often.
Speak with family members more often.
Exercising more often than not.
Exercising more often than not.
Remembering to be very patient when helping my granddaughter with her homework.
Remembering to be very patient when helping my granddaughter with her homework.
Spend more time with Jesus.
Spend more time with Jesus.
That's it.
Those are some great, great examples. I'd love to have a big list that I could compile and share, that everybody is sharing, and that's perhaps something I will do in the future. This this again is a little bit different forum than I'm used to than we did the first time, and I feel like we're running a little bit ahead. So I want to go back and I want to recap.
I have one more.
Oh, we have one more.
We're getting more.
Oh, okay, we're getting more. Awesome. Please keep bringing them in. That's part of this.
Meal planning is one of my wellness tools.
Meal planning is one of my wellness tools.
Music and earphones wherever I go keeps anxiety at bay.
Music and earphones wherever I go keeps anxiety at bay.
That's it.
You keep that anxiety at bay. Anything we can do to keep anxiety at bay. Those are some excellent, excellent examples. And the great thing about when we share these things is maybe I've never thought of something that someone else is doing. I had somebody in one of my trainings who takes pictures of flowers, and she had gone out to the Blossom Trail and took some beautiful pictures of her family, and she shared those, and they were beautiful. And recently I saw some flowers and I took a picture of one of them. Everyone who knows me knows I'm obsessed with bees. I love bees. But I did get stung by one not too long ago, so be careful. Even though I love them, they'll sting you. So a description of yourself when you are well is what we went over. I'm recapping right now. A description of yourself when you are well. And I gave the example of playful, joking, talkative, and then other people shared a lot of their examples. Wellness tools that you know you must use every day to maintain your wellness. I gave the example of meditating, exercising, or walking. And then a list of things that you might need to do on any day. And we had on those laundry, making an appointment with a healthcare professional. And this is just part of the wrap. This is just the daily maintenance plan. So we've gone over the 5 key recovery concepts, the wellness toolbox, our daily maintenance, what I am like when I'm well, when I'm feeling well, what I need to do every day to stay as well as possible, and then what I might need to do every day to stay as well as possible. So again, if you would like to have a piece of paper, a binder, even a book, reach out to me and I'll see what I can do about getting you a workbook. We might have access to those. And we even have pocket little wraps. Reach out to me if that's something you'd be interested in. Because we have the time, I'm going to share how this has impacted my life. How rap and how wellness and how I even got into being about wellness and being a certified spiritualist, and I shared something very personal, which was that I was agoraphobic many years ago. And what I learned in that time was something I already shared with you today, was that peace of mind for me was everything, and not to take that for granted, because it was a feeling of living in between sanity and insanity. And having been there and having had that experience, I say to my friends and family, do not take your mental health and well-being for granted. If something is bothering you, if something is eating you up, if you're dreading going to work every day, if you're dreading going home, Of course, there are not always simple answers and simple ways to get out of these situations, but you can definitely start thinking of a plan and maybe start planning. I mentioned earlier about being honest with your supervisors, your coworkers. If you're not doing well, it's okay. You're human. And especially during this time, and when I share those things, I share them from experience. I know that for me as a mental health professional and with all the training I have, often in the past it's been very hard to share when I'm going through a tough time because I feel like I should already have the answers. And sometimes it feels really embarrassing. So I have some very close people that are part of my support system. So in seminar one, when we talked about having a support system, and we'll talk about this further in our next one, the support people that you have around you that are people that you trust, that are people that are unconditional and treat you with unconditional high regard, these are all people that you should be able to go to and hopefully express whatever it is you're feeling. Something I've learned is to let the people around me know when when I am having a hard time, because I don't want them to take it personal, and I find it to be cleansing to my soul to just let it out. And I've shared with people, this doesn't have to be a long, drawn out 4-hour conversation or last 3 days. Recently I had a conversation with someone, it probably lasted 10 minutes and there was crying involved and, you know, and I felt better. And it had nothing to do with them. It was just about acknowledging that this change has been very difficult. It's been very hard. In the first webinar, she talked a bit about, again, how life was just kind of taken from us and everything has changed, everything that we know. And I think for many of us being professionals, it's very difficult to acknowledge that we ourselves are perhaps having a hard time with it. And not all the time. I know for me personally, I haven't had a hard time with this for the whole time I've been working from home, but there are those days. And there are those days where I would like everything to go back to the way it was. And I need to just be able to say, hey, I'm really frustrated today, or I'm not having a good day. However, I think these are good practices to have even pre-COVID that we share with those around us. And going back to the supervisor, maybe you need an accommodation. Maybe you need time off. Maybe you need some support. I think we all as human beings need validation. And I remember saying this to a supervisor at one time, whether you like it or not, your staff look to you for validation. Whether you like it or not, in a home where there's mom or dad or whatever, we're all constantly striving for some form of validation. And I do believe that we do look for validation in whoever it is that we answer to, right? So did we have anything come in?
No, not yet.
Okay. So I want to talk right now about what I would like to do. I spoke about this in the beginning. When Stacy first asked me to do these wellness webinars, we spoke about possibly creating some cohorts and breaking into smaller groups. This would be aside from these regular wellness webinars that I'm going to be doing, because the next series is going to be on stressors and then a stressors action plan, aka triggers. I will still be doing that. I'll still be carrying on with these webinars. What I would like to know is if any of you are interested in being a part of a cohort where we can do break-off sessions and we can figure out what days are good for you guys, what times are good for you, and we could actually do check-ins. What I yearn for is I yearn to hear your voices, possibly see your faces. This is going to be virtual for now. This is a time that can be set up, again, depending on all of your schedules, where it may be as simple as your name and what you're doing to take care of your wellness. And letting your voices be heard, that whole part of validation. Rita Mejia and I are a part of this twice a week with ALF's advanced level facilitators who are in California on Thursdays, and then on Friday with ones throughout the world. And we're all doing just a check-in, and we just go around and we check in and we listen to each other. And the great thing about this is getting to hear that others are actually having similar experiences to you. And the other day I was in one where, a gal started crying and she said, God, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I cried. I never cry. And that's exactly why we need to be doing these check-ins and checking in on each other and with each other, is because we do need to have some form of an outlet. So I would really love it if you could email myself. You guys are on with Brian right now, or email Brian, but not on this YouTube forum, but email, just letting us know. And if you could put cohort in the subject line, so that we could then create some different check-in times. And I'm going to ask you guys if you have any questions for me.
There's about a 15-second delay, a 20-second delay.
Okay, so Brian just let me know there's about a 15 or 20-second delay. So please, if you have any questions for me, anything. If it's personal, that's fine too. I'm open. Any questions about recovery, anything we've talked about today? And I'm going to take a drink real quick while I'm waiting to see if anybody responds. For those of you who know me know that my Starbucks is part of my daily wellness and has been for many, many years.
Nothing yet.
Okay, so it looks like we don't have any questions. I'm going to close for today. I want to leave you like I did with Seminar 1. Please, please, please do not underestimate the power of your voice and what that is doing for the people around you, family, friends, your clients. Being that right now most of us are just able to have contact verbally, do not underestimate the power that your voice has for each and every person that you speak to. And know that you are needed and important. And as I said last time, I hear everyone being thanked in the community and stuff. Thank you for all of your service and for everything that you do, and for getting up every morning and making your day about helping others. Remind yourself that this is what you do and that you are a part of the solution and you are a part of wellness in the community. And I thank you so much, and I look forward to our next May 12th, 2020, where we'll be talking about stressors and the Stressors Action Plan. You all have a great day.